All around you, the desert is still breathing out the last sighs of the storm, wind dragging thin veils of dust over the dunes, whispering against your ears like a voice that refuses to speak clearly. The sun hangs low, swollen and red, flattening the horizon into a line of molten copper. Your palms ache, scraped raw, the taste of grit coating your tongue every time you inhale. Above you, the bird circles for the third time. You noticed it an hour ago, just a dark shape against the white glare, wings carving slow, deliberate arcs in the sky. Now, its cry cuts through the emptiness, sharp and insistent, as if it's impatient with you, with how long you're taking, with how afraid you are to admit what's happening. The sand collapses under your hands, sliding away like water around stone, and the outline hardens, a perfect rectangle, edges crisp, buried at an angle beneath the dune. You brush more sand aside and your fingers strike something solid, something that hums quietly through your bones. Not metal, not rock, door. You sit back on your heels, chest working too hard for the thin air you're getting. Heat leaves the day in waves, and the desert changes color by the minute. Gold to amber, amber to rust, rust to something deep and bruised. You watch the doorway emerge from that shifting palette, and for a heartbeat, you're not in 1987, not in this forgotten piece of nowhere. You're at the kitchen table, fluorescent light buzzing above, cheap linoleum under your bare feet, crayons scattered in front of a small, stubborn hand. Again, a child's voice laughs in your memory. Draw it again, the place where the sun sleeps. You blink hard, and the kitchen is gone. The dune is back. The bird screams once, directly overhead. The folded paper in your pocket presses against your ribs when you lean forward. You don't need to take it out. You already know every line, every curl of ink, every corner gone soft from being opened and folded, over and over through the years. You've traced that map with your thumb until the path became muscle memory. You've lain awake with it on your chest in the dim hours when the house was too quiet, when grief turned every breath into a negotiation. Still, your hand finds the edge of the paper, as if it wants proof that all this is real. You slide the map free. The wind tries to snatch it, catching the corners, fluttering the yellowed sheet like a trapped moth. You pinch it tight, fingers stained with sand and sweat, and smooth it open on your knee. The ink has bled in places, tiny rivers spreading from each drawn line, but the shapes are all there. The cluster of squares, the crooked path, the circle at the bottom, drawn heavier than the rest, as if the pen refused to leave that spot. The circle that was always labeled in careful, childish handwriting. Home. The doorway beneath you doesn't care about your memories. It simply exists, patient, the exposed edge etched with symbols you don't recognize and yet somehow do. Angular lines, small spirals, a motif that repeats 3 times, a bird, wings extended, bracketed by 2 vertical marks. Your fingers hover above it, afraid to touch. You remember the first time you saw this place, not here, in the sand, on paper. On the fridge, held up with a magnet shaped like a smiling orange. You had laughed back then. "What's this?" you'd asked, ruffling hair still warm from sleep, inhaling the smell of soap and cereal. "A city under the ground?" "No," your child had said, serious eyes lifting to yours. "It's where we go when we're not sad anymore. You thought it was a game." A way their 7-year-old mind tried to arrange the world. You told them it was beautiful because it was, a floating city of squares and circles and lines with a little bird drawn above it like a guardian. You never expected to see it outside your own kitchen, in a desert halfway across the world, years too late. You never expected the bird to be real. It dips lower now, slicing through a shaft of light, feathers catching the red of the sun. For a second, it looks almost aflame. Then it rears its wings and settles on a broken stone outcrop a short distance away, head cocked, dark eye fixed on you. "Waiting! You brought me here," you murmur, though your lips barely move. The words crack on the way out, rough edges scraping your throat. You're not used to speaking to anyone anymore, not like this, voice gentle, as if afraid to break something fragile. No one answers, of course, just the wind and the soft rasp of sand sliding down around the emerging door. You shift your weight, and pain flares in your lower back from the hours spent walking, from the decades spent carrying things heavier than a rucksack. Worry, responsibility, silence. The strap of your canteen cuts into your shoulder. The ring finger on your left hand is bare, a pale band of skin marking where gold used to sit. You don't look at that hand for very long. The map flutters. For years, it was only a sketch your child made whenever they were bored. On napkins, in school notebooks, on the margin of bills you left on the table. Each version a little clearer than the last, as if they were remembering more of a place they had never visited. As if somewhere inside them the lines already existed and were just waiting to be drawn. Then came the accident, and the house that had always been too small became too big. You had packed their drawings away, at first because it hurt to see them, then because you were afraid to lose them. Somewhere along the way, you stopped knowing which reason was stronger. Years later, when the box finally fell from the top shelf and spilled across your feet, you found the map tucked between their old school reports. This version was different. Detailed, compass markings in the corner, numbers along the edge, a scratched word in the bottom right that took you a long time to read. Coordinates. You didn't realize that they meant anything until you saw a newspaper last month back in the cafe where you now spend afternoons instead of making dinner for two. Small article. Smaller picture. Uncharted desert region survey planned, the headline said. Underneath, a blurry black and white photograph of a wide, empty horizon with a string of numbers printed over it. You hadn't finished your coffee that day. You hadn't finished anything that day except locking yourself in the bathroom and pressing the newspaper to the mirror, hands shaking as you scribbled the numbers beside the ones on the map. They matched. Not perfectly. Close enough. Close enough for you to book a ticket. Close enough for you to leave a note on the kitchen counter the way you used to when you worked late. Gone for a few days. Don't worry. Habit made you write it. Habit made you cross out the second sentence. There is no one left to worry. The bird calls again, a low, throaty sound that vibrates in the space between your ribs. You look up. It hops closer to the edge of its perch, claws scraping stone, feathers ruffling against the wind. The angle of its head is accusatory, like the stare of a child who has been waiting at the window too long. You swallow. Fine, you tell it, and your voice is stronger this time. The desert steals the sound almost immediately, but you say it anyway. I'm going. You fold the map with more care than you've given anything in years, corner to corner, line to line, until it's a small, dense square. You slide it back into your pocket, pressing it flat against your chest. Then you drag more sand away from the door, your hands moving faster now, driven by something that feels uncomfortably like hope. The ground is cooler here, beneath the surface. Your fingernails scrape symbols clean. More birds, more vertical lines, a small circle at eye level with a dot in the center. Light from the dying sun slides over the carvings, making them seem to move, to breathe, to whisper with voices trapped for centuries. You think this is coincidence, a quieter part of you insists. The part that has kept you alive through funerals and empty birthdays and the way people stopped calling after a while because they didn't know what to say. Maps and birds and coordinates. It has to be coincidence. Another part of you, the part that bought a plane ticket and lied to your neighbor about visiting a cousin, knows better. Your thumb finds the edge of the door, a seam where stone meets stone. Sand has sealed it over time, but not completely. There is space, enough to slide your fingers in, to test the weight. You brace your feet, plant them in the shifting dune, and pull. At first, nothing happens. Then, somewhere deep within the structure, something gives. You feel it through your hands, a faint shudder, like a body drawing its first breath after too long underwater. The air around you changes, pressure shifting, a subtle exhale from a place that hasn't opened in longer than you can imagine. A thin line appears in the center of the doorway. Darkness leaks out. The smell hits you a moment later. Not rot, not the sour tang of something dead. Old air. Stale, yes, but layered with scents you cannot name. Dust and stone, certainly, but also dried herbs, perhaps, or old smoke, or something metallic and faintly sweet, like rain on hot iron. The fragrance of a life that was lived and then sealed away, waiting for a stranger's hands. You pause, arms shaking with the effort, sweat crawling down the back of your neck. Grains of sand cling to your skin. Your heart stumbles in your chest and surges on faster. The bird falls silent. You look up and find it perched closer now, just a few meters away, on a lower rock. Its eyes are glossy beads in the fading light. You don't know what species it is. You don't know if the species even matters. All you know is that it has been here, circling over nothing, until there was suddenly something. You. This. The door groans as you drag it further, the sound thick and long, pulled from the belly of the earth. The gap widens. Cold air spills out, flowing over your hands, your wrists, your face. It smells like the inside of old drawers, like attics, like hospital corridors late at night when every door is closed and every light is too bright. You've walked too many of those corridors. You push the memory away and focus on the present, on the strip of black widening before you. The desert darkens around the edges as the sun sinks lower, sky fading from red to violet. The door moves another inch, then another, until finally, with a last protesting shudder, it reaches a point where the dune will carry no more. Sand slumps against its weight, holding it open at an angle, enough to see inside. Not far in, just a few feet, a staircase descends, swallowed quickly by shadow. Stone steps worn in the middle, like feet have smoothed them over time. The walls are close, a narrow throat leading downward. Faint marks line them, not carved but painted, pigments long faded yet still visible. More birds, more circles, more symbols you know and don't know all at once. Your body reacts before your mind does. Your hand gropes blindly for the edge of the door, fingers pressing into the carvings so hard they ache. Your knees feel suddenly loose, unreliable. An invisible tide rises in your chest, not quite panic, not quite relief, something larger and older that your vocabulary has never needed until now. You told yourself, on the plane, that you were coming here for closure. That standing in the place your child drew would let you say goodbye properly. You told yourself this was for them. The truth is, you don't know who it's for anymore. One thing you do know, even if you can't put it into words, is that this is no longer about coincidence, about numbers that line up by chance, about a bird just happening to circle above the exact patch of sand that collapses into a familiar pattern. Someone drew this place long before you ever saw it. Someone taught your child to remember. The wind picks up again, cool now that the sun has bled almost entirely into the horizon. It brushes past your face, curls around your ankles, rushes down the newly opened stairwell like water flooding an empty channel. You hear it echo below, a low, hollow sound, as if the desert itself is exhaling into the dark. Behind you is the endless open expanse, miles of dunes, no roads, no people, only the memory of the jeep you left cresting a distant ridge. In front of you, the stairs. You stand there, balanced between the two, skin buzzing, mouth dry, the map, a square of certainty against your chest. The bird gives one soft call. It's almost gentle this time. You take a breath that doesn't quite reach the bottom of your lungs, and you place your foot on the first step. You don't know that far below. Beyond the reach of the fading light, a room waits that will redraw everything you believe about memory, about loss, about what it means to be someone's parent. You don't know what lies at the center of the settlement, or why your child could see it before you ever did. You only know this. For the first time in years, you are moving toward something instead of away. You take the second step. The darkness rises to meet you. The air changes as you descend. It cools first, unexpected, almost shocking after the desert heat. Then it thickens, carrying weight, as if the darkness itself has substance and brushes against your skin. Your fingertips graze the wall beside you, and the texture surprises you. Not rough stone. Not the raw grit you expect from a forgotten underground space. Smooth, polished, worn by hands that passed here long before yours. Your fingers slow, tracing the faint dips and rises, following spirals half erased by time. You don't know what they mean, but something inside you reacts anyway. An instinct, a memory that doesn't belong to you, a pressure behind your ribs that tightens with each step. The last of the daylight slips away as you turn the first corner, swallowed by the throat of the passage. The world above you shrinks to a narrow slice of violet sky and the silhouette of the bird perched at the threshold. It watches you, not with curiosity, not with fear, but with something unnervingly close to recognition. Then you are fully inside and the desert is gone. Only the hush remains, a silence so complete it feels intentional. You pause, letting your eyes adjust. At first, everything is simply black, a total unbroken wall of it. Then your vision begins to adapt, teasing shapes out of shadow. The staircase bends slightly to the right. The walls narrow. A faint glimmer flickers ahead, faint enough to make you wonder if it's real or if your mind, starved for reference, is inventing it. You take the next step, and the next. Your boots scuff softly. Dust puffs around your ankles. Every few feet, you catch a mark on the walls, flaking paint in muted reds and ochres, layered lines forming birds, circles, doorways, trees, and shapes you cannot name. The drawings feel old, older than the settlement the map implies, older than the coordinates, older than the paper itself, older than you. Why would a child draw something like this? The question lands in your stomach with a dull ache, and you grip the railing, if it can even be called that. A raised stone lip, worn smooth in the middle where countless palms have passed. Your thumb settles into an indentation, perfectly shaped for a hand smaller than yours. You freeze. The indentation is shallow, but deliberate, a place for a child's hand. You pull your fingers back as though burned. You try to remind yourself of the practical explanation that people carved these for children long before your child ever existed. That nothing about this place is personal, that you are weaving meaning into coincidence because grief rewires everything, reshapes the world around the absence that hollowed you. But grief never made birds circle abandoned doors. Grief never made coordinates line up. Grief never placed the past ahead of you like a trap or a gift. You exhale long and slow. You need to keep moving. The map presses against your chest with each breath, its weight small yet impossible to ignore. You remember the moment you took it from the box, your hand shaking so hard you almost tore the fragile edges. You remember sliding your fingers over the lines your child had drawn and how something inside you had buckled, sharp and sudden, like a fragile structure giving way. You left the box open on the floor. The house had been too quiet to stay in. You grip the wall again and descend deeper. The glimmer ahead brightens, resolving into a weak amber glow. A lantern, perhaps, or a torch, though the light doesn't flicker. It remains steady, steady enough to guide you downward until the staircase widens into a landing. And that's when everything inside you stops. A door waits at the far end. Not like the one above. This one isn't buried, isn't stone, isn't ancient. It's made of wood, pale and dry, reinforced with horizontal metal bands. A handle sits at its center, dark from age, polished by countless touches. But it isn't the construction that steals your breath. It's the drawing carved into the wood. A bird, wings spread, tail flared, circle beneath it. You've seen that bird 1,000 times, on napkins, on the fridge. On the corner of that map you still carry like a second pulse. You step closer without realizing it. Your hand rises, hesitates, then rests on the wood. Warm. You pull back instinctively. Warm. Why? There's no heat source here, no sunlight, no power, no reason for this door to feel alive under your fingertips. You press your palm to it again. Warm, steady, the heartbeat of something that shouldn't be. Your breath stumbles. The walls seem to lean closer, listening. You wrap your fingers around the handle. Turn. The door doesn't resist. It yields with a quiet sigh, swinging inward as if it's been waiting years, decades, centuries for someone to return. You take a single step inside, and the world changes. The air hits you first, cool, fragrant, layered with scents, both foreign and familiar. Dried earth, old parchment, a whisper of something sweet like dates or honey. Your boots sink slightly into the floor-packed soil, softened by time. Then the light registers. Soft, golden orbs hang suspended along the ceiling like captured stars, illuminating a long, narrow corridor carved with impossible detail. The walls are lined with drawings, massive murals stretching floor to ceiling, each one painted with careful, steady strokes. Scenes of a settlement. Birds flying between rooftops. A central circle. Paths branching outward. People, so many people, painted in silhouettes and lines. Your heart lurches. You know this settlement. You've seen it before, on your child's drawings. But those were simplified, childlike, the shapes blocky and uneven. These murals are detailed, exquisite, yet the layout is unmistakably the same. You raise the map. The folds crackle in the quiet. You hold it beside the wall. The shapes match. Everyone, even the little circle drawn at the bottom. Your child had never been here, could never have been here. Yet the map was exact. You swallow, throat thick. What were you trying to tell me? You whisper. Your voice doesn't echo. It's absorbed instantly, swallowed whole by the earth. You move deeper down the corridor, slow, hesitant, reverent. Every mural pulls your eye. Every symbol sparks recognition and dread in equal measure. You reach the first alcove. It holds a small stone pedestal. A shallow bowl rests atop it, filled with dust and fragments of something brittle. Maybe pottery, maybe bone. You lean closer, and a faint scent rises from it. Spices, maybe. Cinnamon? Cardamom? You can't be sure. You step back. You feel watched. Not by a person, by the past. You take another step, then another. The murals shift as you continue, first depicting the settlement thriving, then showing storms, then showing people gathering, then disappearing, then only birds remaining. The last painting on the right makes you stop. A single bird, above a doorway, sand pouring over it like a tide. Your breath falters. This isn't the blueprint of a settlement. It's a memory. The settlement fell, was buried, and the bird was the only one left to mark the place. The air thickens around you. You reach the end of the corridor. Another door awaits. This one smaller, rounder, carved with a spiral pattern you've seen only once before, on the map. You lift your hand to knock or push or reach, but something freezes you mid-motion. A sound, soft, distant, impossible. Footsteps, not echoing, approaching from inside. Your mouth goes dry. You step back, heart climbing into your throat. The footsteps stop just on the other side of the door. Silence. Then a single knock. Light. Precise. As if whoever or whatever is inside already knows you, already expected you. Come back! A voice whispers inside your mind, soft as breath. It sounds like memory, like a child leaning against your shoulder in a room where the nightlight glows soft blue. You stagger back until your heel hits the wall. Your pulse stutters so violently it hurts. You squeeze your eyes shut, but one memory rises anyway, one you haven't allowed yourself to revisit in years. Your child drawing. Head down, hands steady. You remember leaning over them and asking gently, "Where did you see this place?" And you remember how they answered without looking up, "I didn't see it. I remembered it." Your eyes snap open. The door in front of you is still closed, but the weight of that memory sits on your chest like a stone. You exhale shakily, and you understand something you weren't ready to understand. You're not just following a map. You're following a memory that didn't start with you. Point of no return, you whisper to yourself. The corridor holds its breath. The footsteps behind the door shift, waiting. Your fingers tremble as you reach back toward the handle. You're not sure whether you're opening the door to the past or whether the past is about to open it for you. You don't breathe at first. You just stand there, hand hovering inches from the door, listening to the quiet as it stretches thin around you. Your pulse thunders in the vacuum of sound, each beat too loud, too present, as if it's trying to fill the space your breath has abandoned. You wait for another knock, a voice, a scrape, a sign of anything alive behind the carved spiral. But nothing comes, only your heartbeat, steadying itself with reluctance. You're not sure whether the relief that follows is a kindness or a disappointment. You lower your hand, slowly. The door doesn't move. The footsteps don't return. Whatever presence stood on the other side has retreated into silence, or is waiting for something from you that you haven't yet offered. The thought unsettles you. You rub your palms against your jeans, brushing off dust, grounding yourself in the familiar texture of fabric. It helps, a little, but your fingers still tremble. You take a careful breath and let your attention drift back to the corridor behind you, to the murals lining the walls, painted in a language you don't yet understand but have understood more than you should from the moment you entered. Something in these stones remembers you, or remembers your child. The line between the two has been blurring since the moment you set foot in the desert. You glance again at the door. You're not ready, not yet. Whatever waits beyond that threshold will change things. You don't know how. You just know with a certainty that anchors itself deep in your gut. Once you open that door, you will step into a truth that cannot be undone. You need to understand more first. You need to breathe, so you turn away, not out of fear, out of preparation. The murals pull you back through the corridor like a tide. Shapes come into focus where you hadn't noticed them before. Your mind is sharper now, braced by shock, sharpened by the knock you still feel echoing somewhere behind your ribs. You retrace your path. Each mural, each alcove takes on new weight. The first depicts people gathering around a central circle. The second shows them building structures, long sweeping lines forming rooftops, pillars, doorways. The next reveals birds, painted large, almost sacred, perched on rafters, guiding workers, soaring above unfinished foundations. You recognize the central bird motif. Your child used to draw it hovering above everything, above stick figures, above houses, above that strange circular shape you now know wasn't a fantasy but a memory. You stop at a mural halfway down the corridor. This one feels different. It shows a small figure, child-sized, standing at the entrance of a stone building nearly identical to the one you just opened. The child holds a piece of parchment, a map, not drawn in detail, just a simple rectangle with lines and circles. Your throat tightens. You reach out and run your fingers over the child's silhouette. The paint flakes beneath your touch, but the shape remains. You trace the map, the faint outline of the settlement drawn in miniature form. Why would a child be carrying a map? More importantly, why does it look so much like the one in your pocket? You remove the map carefully, slowly, as if any abrupt movement might tear the fragile paper or wake something older than grief itself. You unfold it. Corners crackle, ink lines shimmer faintly in the dim gold light. You hold it up beside the mural. The resemblance is no longer uncanny. It's exact. Every line, every curve, even the slightly uneven circle drawn near the bottom where your child always pressed harder with the pen, as if that place mattered more than the rest. The settlement painted on the wall is the settlement on the map. Your child didn't imagine this place. They remembered it. Your stomach twists. You fold the map again, carefully, almost reverently, and slip it back into your pocket. The weight that once felt like grief now feels like a question waiting to be answered. You move to the next mural. This one shows storms, violent spirals painted in streaks of red and ochre, sand sweeping across rooftops, burying structures, erasing pathways. You can feel the panic in the brushstrokes, the chaos captured in the lines, people scrambling toward underground entrances. Birds fly above them, wings open wide, guiding, protecting, or warning. A shiver runs through you. You move on. The next mural is even darker. Only one figure stands in this painting, a lone bird perched atop a half-buried doorway. Everything else is gone. The settlement swallowed beneath rolling dunes, the sky bruised with swirling colors. The bird watches. It always watches. It always watches. Just like the bird above the desert watched you. Your palms sweat. You wipe them on your jeans again. There's more to see. Another alcove, another pedestal. You kneel before it. The bowl atop it contains thin sheets of something curled inward, fragments of parchment or leather, brittle and nearly powdering at the edges. You lean closer. They smell faintly of herbs and smoke, familiar scents from markets and old homes half a world away. You brush one fragment with your fingertip, and the dust shifts, revealing ink. Foreign characters. Symbols drawn in the same looping style your child favored in their early attempts at cursive swooped lines, curved hooks, soft points. You don't recognize the script, but your chest contracts as if you should. You bring your face closer. One symbol stands out, a shape you've seen more times than you can count, a circle with a smaller circle inside. Your child used to draw that symbol everywhere, on homework, on receipts, on the corner of postcards. You always thought it was just a doodle, a habit. You realize now it wasn't a decoration. It was a memory. Your fingers hover above the bowl. You want to take a piece. You don't. Something in your bones insists that nothing here should be disturbed. Not until you understand the rules of this place. You rise slowly. Your knees ache. You feel the years. You feel the distance between the person you were before the accident and the person who stands here now, held together by memory and exhaustion and a truth you've chased into the desert. A faint sound drifts from above. A distant cry. The bird! It hasn't left the doorway. It's still waiting for you. You turn your head toward the stairwell you descended minutes ago, though it feels like longer, much longer. Time behaves strangely in places like this, compressed in some spots, stretched in others. You step back toward the final mural, the one closest to the round door. It's smaller than the others, simpler, barely more than an outline. It shows the settlement again, but not as it was, as it is now, buried beneath dunes, empty, silent, except for a single figure drawn at the bottom. Standing where you stand now. You choke on a breath. Someone painted you here before you ever arrived, or they painted someone like you. A stranger led by a map, a parent searching for something lost. The mural's figure lifts a hand toward the round door. Just like you did. You step back, your shoulder brushes the stone. Something cracks open in your chest, not fear, recognition. You're not the first to follow this map. You may not be the first to hear footsteps behind that door. You stare at the spiral carving. You inhale slowly. Then another thought surfaces, quiet but sharp enough to cut through everything else. If someone painted a figure standing here reaching for the door, then maybe, just maybe, someone painted what happens after you open it. Your gaze slides downward to the bottom corner of the mural, a small, faint shape. You crouch, squinting. It's a child, smaller, simpler, holding the hand of the figure who opened the door. They stand together on the other side. You feel your entire body go still. A sound rises in your ears. Not quite a heartbeat, not quite breath, something caught between the two. Your fingers curl slowly against your thigh. From behind you, from behind the door! The footsteps return. 1, 2, stopping exactly where they did before. Your pulse thunders. Something inside you cracks. Not fear this time, not grief. Something closer to resolve. You straighten. You turn. The spiral door waits. Warm, expectant, alive. You reach for the handle, and the moment your fingertips brush metal, a voice whispers from the other side of the door. Not clearly, not loud, just one word. One you thought you'd never hear again. Mom? The word doesn't fade. It hangs in the air like dust, suspended in a shaft of light. Weightless, impossible, absolutely real. Mom? Your hand freezes on the handle. Your fingers go numb. Every part of your body, heart, lungs, knees, locks in place as if the very syllable has turned your blood to cooled glass. The corridor dims around the edges, your vision tightening to a narrow tunnel aimed directly at the spiral carved into the wood. You don't breathe. You can't. All you can do is listen for it again. Silence. But not the empty kind. This silence is charged. Waiting. Listening back. Your mouth opens before your mind can form words. Who's there? You intend for your voice to sound steady. It doesn't. It comes out thin, stretched, fragile in a way you haven't heard from yourself since the hospital, when the world collapsed into clean sheets and beeping monitors and a doctor who couldn't raise his eyes to meet yours. A faint scuff answers you. Someone inside shifts their weight. Your nails dig into the wooden handle. Say something, you whisper. Please. Your whisper ripples through the corridor like a breath across still water. A heartbeat passes. Then, the same voice. Quiet. Closer. Mom, you came back. Your knees give out. You catch the wall with your free hand, fingers scraping stone, shoulder slamming against the painted silhouettes. Dust rains down around you. Your throat clenches shut. You can't inhale. You can't exhale. The world tilts violently. You know that voice. You know its shape, its softness, the way the first consonant catches, the way the final note lifts a little like a question. You know the cadence from bedtime murmurs and scraped knee sobs and whispered, "Read one more page!" But that voice belongs to a time before grief rewrote your entire existence. It belongs to a person who died years ago. Your vision blurs. Not with tears, those won't come. Grief carved them out long ago. This is something else. Shock, memory, recognition so deep it cuts through bone. You force breath into your lungs. "You're not real!" The words scrape your throat raw. Another breath. "You can't be real." The handle warms under your palm as if the door itself is breathing, alive, reacting to your presence. The warmth spreads across your skin, down your wrist, up your arm. A sensation like static prickles along your nerves. The voice replies, barely audible, "Please open it." Your heart convulses. You back away so quickly you hit the opposite wall, shoulder slamming into ancient painted plaster. The murals shake. Dust drifts down. You press your back into the cold stone as if you can anchor yourself to it, as if solidity could protect you from the echo of a voice that shouldn't exist. "No," you whisper. "No, you're not there. You can't be." The silence that follows is thick, heavy. Then, a new sound, small, soft, a tap like a fingertip brushing the inside of the door. And again, tap, tap, a rhythm you remember. The pattern your child used on the bathroom door when they wanted you to hurry up. 2 soft taps, then 1 harder one. A memory hits you so hard your vision doubles. You see steam rising from the shower. You see a towel dropped on tile. You hear the taps through the wood. 2 soft, 1 sharp, impatient, familiar. Your breath fractures. "Stop," you choke out. "Please, stop." The tapping stops instantly. Only silence remains. You shake your head. Hard. Harder. You try to force reason back into your mind, your rational self, buried somewhere under years of mourning, trying to claw its way back to the surface. Of course it's not them. It can't be. You know that. You repeat it silently, over and over, hoping your mind will accept it. But sound is hard to fake. Memory is harder. And that tapping is impossible to imitate unless someone knew it intimately, unless someone remembered it with you. Your legs tremble when you push off the wall. You don't go back to the door. Not yet. Instead, you step toward the nearest mural, the one showing a parent and child. You run your fingers over the paint again, tracing their joined hands, trying to understand what this place is and what it wants from you. Your fingertips tremble. You feel the weight of years behind the paint. Years of someone capturing a story. Years of someone expecting someone else to follow. Maybe expecting you. You move down the corridor, your footsteps unsteady, your breath shallow. Something inside you cracks open as you walk. A memory rises. Sharp, vivid, uninvited. Flash, back, trigger. The smell of dust, triggered by the faint dust smell from the murals. You're standing in your child's room the year after the accident. Their shelves are still arranged the way they left them. Books stacked sideways. Dinosaur toys lined up facing the door as if guarding the room, drawings tacked to the wall. You pick up one paper left on the desk, the same map that would one day send you across the world. You remember sitting on the edge of the bed, holding it in both hands, staring at the shapes you hadn't yet understood. Then you saw something on the back, a single line in pencil, "When the bird finds her, follow." You had folded the paper quickly, as if the words were too hot to touch. You didn't understand them. You understand them now. You blink and the corridor snaps back into view. Your legs nearly buckle again. The bird, the map, the voice. All of it twisting together into a shape your mind refuses to hold, but can't let go of. You reach the end of the corridor again. The spiral door waits. Warm, quiet, expectant. You take a breath and turn your head toward the staircase. You feel the faintest draft from above, the outside world calling you back to safety, to logic, to a reality that makes sense even when it hurts. You could leave. You could walk up those stairs, out into the desert, pretend the voice was imagination, a trick of acoustics, the byproduct of exhaustion and grief and dehydration. But the truth sits in your chest like a stone. You didn't come all this way to run. And something behind that door knows your name, knows your voice, knows the rhythm of taps you thought only existed between you and your child. You step forward. The warmth intensifies as your hand closes around the handle. You lean in. "Who are you?" you whisper, though you already know the answer you fear and want to hear. Silence. You turn the handle. You pull. The door opens with a soft groan. A breath of cold ancient air spills out, stroking your skin. And for the first time, you see what waits on the other side. A narrow chamber. A single lantern glowing with unnatural steadiness. And in the center of the room, a figure, small, still, facing away from you, shoulders rising and falling in slow, familiar breaths, hair the same length, the same curl, the same soft movement you brushed aside on 100 early mornings. Your heart stops. For a moment, the world is nothing but the shape of them. "Mom?" the voice whispers again, and the figure turns. The figure turns slowly, not with surprise, not with fear, with recognition, as if your presence is the last missing piece of a puzzle they've been waiting years, decades, centuries to complete. Your breath fractures. The lantern's glow stretches across the chamber, catching the curve of a cheek, the slope of a nose, the familiar tilt of a chin. Your stomach drops, a sudden plunge that hollows you out from the inside. It's them, your child, or someone wearing their face, the same soft jawline, the same wide eyes, the same small scar at the eyebrow from the night they tripped running down the hall and you laughed, then cried, then kissed the wound because that's what parents do when fear and love collide too suddenly. Every detail is right, too right. You step backward without meaning to, hitting the doorframe. The figure blinks once, slow, measured, as if they're testing the weight of the moment. "Mom," they say again, and the voice is exactly the one that lives in your memories, untouched by years, untouched by death, untouched by the world that buried you under grief. You open your mouth and nothing comes out. Your throat has forgotten how words work, how breath works, how anything works. You try again. "Why?" Your voice collapses. You swallow hard and try once more. You're not real." The figure tilts its head, a gesture so familiar it cleaves your heart open. "But I am," they whisper. Your fingers grip the doorframe until the wood digs into your skin. Your pulse crashes through your veins, loud enough to drown out reason, loud enough to drown out fear. You shake your head. "No, no, you died. I held." Your voice breaks. "I held you." The figure flinches, not in denial, not in confusion, but in recognition, as if the memory hurts them too. A child's face shouldn't hold an expression like that. Ancient, heavy, haunted. They step toward you. You step back. Don't. Your own voice sounds raw, stripped of all armor. If grief had a sound, this would be it. The figure stops instantly. You take a long, shuddering breath and force yourself to truly look at them. Really look, beyond resemblance, beyond memory, beyond the tidal pull of hope you've tried to bury for years. Their face is perfect, but the way they hold their shoulders, too still. The way their eyes don't dart around the room the way a child's should, too focused. The way they stand in the exact center of the chamber as if placed too deliberate. Your child never held still this long. Something cold trickles down your spine. "Who are you?" Your voice steadies, sharpened by fear you can control better than hope. "Tell me the truth." The figure's lips part as if they'll answer. But they don't answer, not with words. Instead, they lift a hand, palm up, and you see it, a symbol drawn in faint, glowing lines, a circle inside a larger circle. Your child used to draw that everywhere, on everything. You feel your knees weaken. The glow pulses softly. Like a heartbeat, your chest tightens. "Where did you get that?" you whisper. The figure lowers their hand and takes another step closer. Careful, slow, cautious in a way that mirrors you, as though both of you are animals approaching the same pool of water, neither fully trusting the reflection. "When the storm came," they begin, "the others went below." Their voice has changed, not the tone, but the cadence. It's older, weighted, as if layered with memories not meant for a child's mouth. You grip the door frame harder. "The others?" you echo. The figure nods. "Before the dunes covered the city." A sickening realization crawls up your spine. This isn't your child. This is someone who remembers a buried settlement, someone who speaks of it as if they lived it, someone who carries your child's features like a borrowed mask. You should run. Every instinct in your body screams it, but you don't, because something in the way they look at you, some fragile thread woven through time, ties you to the ground. What happened to the city? The question slips out before you can stop it. The figure's eyes dark and deep, ancient sadness bleeding through the shape of a child. "We were warned." They turn their heads slightly, glancing at the murals carved into the walls outside the chamber. The sand was coming, the storms, the heat. Their voice thins. "The bird tried to lead us away." "You swallow!" "The bird, the one above the desert now?" A small nod. "The guardian, the remembrance bird." Your breath stutters. Remembrance. A knife of recognition cuts through your chest. Your child. Their drawings, the maps, the birds scribbled above every corner, their fascination with flight, wings, circles. You thought it was imagination. Maybe it was memory. The figure continues. "When the storms grew strong, the bird found the children first, the ones who still remembered." You blink. "Remembered what?" The figure lifts one trembling hand to their temple. "The before." Their voice cracks on the word. And the after. You step toward them without realizing it. How old are you? Your voice comes out hushed, afraid of the answer. I don't know, they whisper. Not anymore. The lantern's glow flickers, not with flame, but with something like breath, and the shadows crawl up the walls, wrapping the chamber in shifting patterns. Your pulse hammers. If they aren't your child, if they aren't a hallucination, then what are they? You take another step toward them. The figure mirrors you. Now only a few feet separate you. The air hums between you, charged, electric, trembling with something that feels like recognition and dread braided together. You force yourself to speak. What do you want from me? The figure doesn't hesitate. To finish what I started. Your heart drops. Started what? The child's face softens into something unbearably sad. You followed the map, they whisper. Now we have to find the rest. The rest of what? Their eyes lift to yours, and for the first time something shifts behind them. A flicker, a memory, a familiarity too sharp to ignore. You came when I called, they say softly. Just like last time. Your skin crawls. Last time? They nod. You don't remember. Not yet. Your voice is barely breath. What did I forget? The child takes one more step. Their face is now inches from yours. Their eyes shine with something ancient. And when they speak again, their voice is not a child's voice. It is layered, echoed, a memory speaking through a mouth too small for it. You've been here before, Mom. Your breath stops completely. And this time, the figure whispers, you have to stay long enough to remember why you left. Your hands fall from the doorway. Your legs go weak. Your pulse breaks into a sprint. You stumble back as the chamber spins around you. The figure reaches out, not to grab you, not to threaten you, but in a plea. Don't leave again. You turn, you run, you crash back into the corridor wall, sucking in ragged breaths, because for the first time since stepping into the desert, you understand the truth you were never meant to hold. You didn't come here for the first time. You came back. You don't remember moving. One moment you're staring at the figure, the impossible child wearing a face you buried years ago, and the next, your body is slamming itself backward into the corridor wall. Stone meets your spine with a jolt. Dust falls around you like ash. Your breath scatters into broken pieces. The figure remains in the doorway, framed by the warm lantern light behind them, their silhouette small but impossibly steady. They don't chase you, they just stand there, watching, as if they've seen you fall apart like this before, as if they expected it. You press your palms flat to the cold stone, needing the steadiness, the solidity, the reassurance of something that does not change shape or voice or age. What are you talking about? Your voice fractures. I've never been here. The figure tilts their head, not confused but patient. You forgot, they whisper. Their tone carries no accusation, only a kind of sorrow that digs under your ribs. Forgot! Forgot what? Your breath stumbles as you push yourself up, your back sliding against the mural of the lone bird perched over the buried doorway. The painting that once felt symbolic, now feeling like a warning. The figure steps one pace into the corridor. The lantern glow stretches behind them, reaching toward you across the carved floor. Mom, they take a breath, one that doesn't crack the way a child's breath should. You have to listen this time. This time. The words land in you with the weight of centuries. Confusion claws at your mind. Fear claws deeper. Memory claws deepest of all. A pounding starts behind your eyes, pressure building, too sharp to be just stress, too sudden to be coincidence. Something inside your brain presses back, like a locked door swelling against its hinges. You grip your temples. What did I forget? Each word is a plea. I need you to tell me. But the figure doesn't answer, not directly. Instead, they lift their hand again, palm outward, showing you the symbol, the twin circles now glowing brighter. It pulses once. A shockwave rips through the corridor. Not loud! Not violent, but deep. A vibration that thrums through the walls, the murals, your bones. You gasp, instinctively reaching for support. Your fingers brush the wall, and something ignites behind your eyes. A flash, not a memory exactly, a fragment. Flash. Back. The subterranean square, triggered by the vibration in the wall. You stand in a wide chamber, a circle of smooth stone at your feet. The air is thick with incense. Voices chant softly around you, words you don't recognize but understand. Your child stands beside you, small hand clutching yours. A bird watches from a high beam, its feathers shimmer gold. A woman steps forward from the crowd. Her eyes are dark, ancient, knowing. She places a glowing symbol, the twin circles, into your palm. When the storms return, she whispers, only the rememberers will survive. You look down at your child. Their eyes are wide, bright, awake, as though they've lived this moment 1,000 times. And then, darkness. You jolt back into the corridor, gasping like you breached the surface after nearly drowning. Your hand jerks away from the wall. The symbol glows faintly on your palm, not drawn, not inked, just warmth, fading quickly. Your legs nearly buckle. "No," you whisper. "No, that wasn't real." But the smell of incense lingers in your nose. The chanting echoes faintly in your ears. The glowing warmth on your palm refuses to leave. The figure nods, slow and steady. "You're remembering." Your stomach knots. "This is wrong. Impossible." Illusion. Hallucination. And yet, you remember exactly how your child's hand felt in that vision. Warm, small, alive. You swallow hard, staring at the figure in front of you. "How could I have been here?" Your words tremble. "I never left my country before now. I didn't even have a passport until—" A thought stops you cold. "Until the accident. Until the grief hollowed you out. Until the world demanded documents you hadn't used in years. Until you stared at your own name on official forms and felt the foreignness of it. Until you realized you didn't remember the first 10 years of your own adulthood as clearly as you thought. Memory loss, trauma, shock. You always blame the accident for it. But what if some of the missing pieces were carved away long before?" The figure steps closer. "Come with me," they say gently, extending a hand. "You have to see it." You shake your head violently. "No, no, tell me what I'm supposed to see." A shadow crosses their face, not fear, not anger, not urgency. "Regret. You left someone behind," they say softly. The corridor tilts under you. Your heart implodes. What?" Their eyes flick to the far end of the hallway, to a place you didn't notice before. A second doorway, half collapsed, buried in shadow. Something rustles behind it, something alive. Your breath stops. Not a person's rustle. Too low, too soft, too careful. The figure doesn't move closer to the sound. They stand still, watching you, waiting for you to understand. "Who is behind there?" Your voice cracks. "Who did I leave?" The figure lowers their gaze. "You're not ready yet." Anger surges through you, burning away the fear, the shock, the paralysis. "Don't tell me that." Your voice ricochets off the stone walls. "I have a right to know. If I was here, if my child was here, if I left someone, you tell me right now." Silence. Then, "I can't," they whisper. "Not until you remember on your own. If I say it, you won't believe me." You take a step toward them. They take a step back. The lantern flickers behind them, this time with something like panic. The murals tremble. Dust shakes loose from the ceiling. The corridor begins to vibrate. The ground hums beneath your boots. A deep rumble rises from below, not mechanical, not natural, but alive. The entire settlement is waking up. The figure looks around, fear slipping into their voice for the first time. "They know you're here." Your mouth goes dry. "Who is they?" The figure shakes their head. "We have to go, now." The rumble deepens. A crack zigzags across the far wall, splitting a mural in half. A painted bird collapses into dust. The floor heaves under your feet. You stumble forward. The figure grabs your arm. Small hand, strong grip, painfully familiar. "Run." You stagger after them down the corridor, the world collapsing in waves around you. But one thought follows you like a shadow you can't outrun. If you left someone behind the last time you were here, and if they know you're back, then whatever waits in the deeper chambers is not a reunion, it's a reckoning. You run. Not the careful, measured steps you took coming down. This is clumsy, desperate movement, boots scraping stone, shoulder glancing off the walls as the ground trembles under you like something huge and buried is slowly turning in its sleep. The figure's hand clamps around your wrist, small but unyielding. "Down," they say, breathless. "We have to go down." Instinct screams the opposite. The stairs up are behind you, the sky, the jeep, the life where the dead stay dead and cities stay buried. Every survival reflex you have points up. But the rumble underneath isn't coming from above, it's coming from deep below. Whatever's waking won't let you outrun it on the surface. You stumble after the figure as they drag you past the spiral door, past the murals that now crack at the edges, faces splitting, painted birds crumbling into dust. It feels like running through a gallery of memories that are being erased in real time. A chunk of plaster shears off the ceiling and shatters at your feet. You jump aside, heart slamming into your throat. "Keep your head low," the figure shouts. The fear in their voice is real, not a performance, not a trick. It shakes you in a way the collapsing stone doesn't. The corridor widens barely, and the rumble deepens into a constant grinding throb. The lantern light from the chamber behind you flickers wildly, stretching shadows out like fingers grabbing for you as you flee. "You don't look back!" You pass the half-collapsed doorway where you heard movement earlier. This time, the sound is clearer. Not a rustle, a whine, a low, muffled sound of distress. You stagger, almost stopping. What was that? The figure yanks harder. "Later! We don't have time!" Your chest protests. Every instinct fights that command. Whatever is behind that door is living, trapped, afraid. You feel it like a tug under your sternum, as though something inside you recognizes the tone of that sound. Is that? You choke on the idea. Is that what I left behind? The figure doesn't answer, which is answer enough. A fresh crack tears through the wall beside the doorway, stone grinding against stone. Dust billows out like smoke. The muffled whine inside sharpens into a panicked bark. A dog! Your heart lurches, misstepping inside your chest. You haven't heard that sound in years, not in person, not up close. Only in dreams, when some distant neighbor's pet drifted through your half-sleep and left you blinking at the ceiling, throat thick, missing the warm weight that used to curl at the foot of your child's bed. Your mind stutters. No! You rasp. No, it can't be. The figure's voice slices through your panic. If we don't reach the circle first, the city will decide for you. You whirl toward them, eyes burning. Decide what? Their gaze flicks to your hand, to the faint symbol still tingling on your palm. Who stays, they say quietly, and who leaves? The rumbling floor doesn't care about your rising panic. It just keeps shaking. You grit your teeth and push forward again, the dog's muffled barking following you like a hook buried deep in your spine. Each step away feels wrong, like abandoning something you promised not to abandon again. You left someone behind. The words from earlier slam back into your skull. You don't know whether that someone is a person, an animal, or something in between. You just know the idea of repeating that mistake makes your stomach turn. The corridor dips, then turns sharply left, then widens into another staircase. This one descending at a steeper angle, the walls slicker, the air cooler, carrying the faint smell of metal and old smoke. You slow at the top without meaning to. The figure doesn't. They tug your arm hard. Don't stop now, they say. You're almost where you were before. Before what? Your voice tears on the question. Before I forgot? Before I left? Before my kid died? You need to start giving me actual answers. The figure stops halfway down the first step. They look back up at you. Their eyes have changed. They're not just your child's eyes anymore. Deep inside them, like reflections in dark glass, you glimpse other faces, other lives, other ages. You lost your child, they say quietly, after you lost yourself. Your grip on the railing slips. What does that mean? It means, they continue, that this place didn't just take your memories, it took your choices. Then it sent you back to the surface to see what you would do without knowing who you had been. Your head spins. This place sent me back? The word feels wrong in your mouth. Sent. Like you're not a person, but a test. The figure nods once. You asked it to. The first time! Anger flares, bright and sudden, cutting through the fog. That's impossible! I would never choose to forget my own! Your voice collapses under the weight of all the nights you've spent trying not to remember their last breath. The figure doesn't flinch. You didn't choose to forget your child, they say. You chose to forget what you did here. A deeper tremor buckles the staircase. You catch the rail as the stone shifts under your feet. The air shivers. The overhead carvings sprinkle dust down in thin streams, turning the lantern glow a hazy gold. You swallow around the dry ache in your throat. What did I do? Barely sound, barely breath. The figure's voice softens. Come down, they say. I'll show you. You should turn around. You're to run for the stairs to the surface, steal one of the survey team's trucks, and drive until there's nothing but asphalt and noise and bright, uncomplicated light. But every step you've taken since you saw that newspaper has been leading here. Into the ground. Into the dark. Into the version of yourself you buried on purpose. You take the step, then another. The staircase swallows you both. The air grows colder as you descend, but sweat still crawls between your shoulder blades. The rumble becomes a constant undercurrent, the bones of the city grinding like teeth. The walls here are different. No murals, no birds. Just smooth stone etched with thousands of tiny symbols, rows and rows of them like writing. Like records, your fingers skim over them as you pass, and fragments itch at the edge of your mind. Flashes of images, stray sensations, a crowd gathered, a circle glowing, a bird screaming from a high beam. You jerk your hand away. The staircase finally widens into an opening. The figure steps aside, letting you see. You freeze in the threshold. You've seen this place before, in that flash triggered by the wall. In the dream you told yourself was just grief wearing a different costume. The subterranean square. Wide, circular, carved directly into the bedrock. The floor is a single massive slab of stone marked by a design you could draw even with your eyes closed. Twin circles. Outer ring, inner ring, the same symbol your child drew on receipts and exams and napkins, the same symbol that shone in your palm. Faint light seeps from the lines themselves, a soft, steady glow like moonlight trapped under the skin of the earth. Around the outer ring, 4 stone pillars rise, each topped with a simple carving of a bird, wings spread. The room vibrates with a low hum that isn't sound as much as it is pressure. pressing against your chest, your skull, the back of your eyes. You take a step inside. The temperature drops. All the fine hairs on your arms stand upright. The twin circles in the floor recognize you. You feel it. The figure steps into the room with you, letting your hand go at last. They move to the far pillar, resting a palm against it. Their shoulders drop slightly as if leaning into an embrace. "You stay at the edge. I was here," you say. "It's not a question." The words arrive on their own. "Yes," the figure replies. The hum beneath your feet thickens, almost like a voice clearing its throat. "What is this place?" you ask. "The memory circle," they say, "where the rememberers chose." Chose what? Whether to carry the city forward or leave it behind. You swallow hard. The circle looks like nothing, just lines in stone. But your body remembers more than your mind. Your hand twitches at your side. You can almost feel a phantom weight, a glowing symbol being pressed into your palm. Why me? The question rips out of you. I'm nobody. I am just. A parent, the figure finishes. You were chosen because you knew how to hold a life and let it walk away. You flinch. The truth of it hurts. You mean my child? I mean any child, they say. But yes, yours too. The hum grows louder, more focused, directed. You feel it skating along the edges of your thoughts, probing gently, as if searching for a door. You grit your teeth. What did I choose? The figure doesn't answer. Instead, they gesture to the floor. Come stand where you stood last time. I'm not stepping into that circle until you tell me. The city won't be patient, they say quietly. It remembers what you promised. It knows you can leave again. It doesn't want to be left behind twice. The pillars vibrate. Fine cracks spider out along the ceiling overhead. A chunk of stone drops and shatters at the edge of the circle. You flinch back. Fear rises again, sharp, hot, but threaded with something else. Guilt. You don't know what you did here, but you know with a certainty that makes your skin crawl, that it wasn't clean, that it wasn't finished, that something was left undone. Someone. The muffled dog's bark echoes from far above, faint but persistent enough to thread its way through the stone. Your chest tightens. You picture a muzzle pressed beneath rock, paws scraping at the blocked doorway, eyes turned toward the corridor, waiting for a silhouette that never came back. You move forward before you decide to. One step. Another. You stop at the edge of the inner circle. The glow beneath the stone brightens. The hum climbs, wrapping around you like a low, distant choir. The figure watches you from near the pillar, eyes shadowed, expression unreadable. You asked it to take your memory, they say quietly. Your heart stutters. Why would I do that? Because you couldn't live with what you decided, they whisper. You couldn't bear the weight of staying here, and you couldn't bear the guilt of leaving, so you let the city rip out the part of you that remembered why. Air leaves your lungs in a ragged rush. You shake your head. No, Flash, not from the walls this time, from the ground. The inner circle flares, your knees buckle. You drop. Not fully, your hands catch the ground, palms slamming against warm stone. The circles under your skin ignite, the symbol in your palm flaring to life again. The square vanishes. You are pulled backward, not up, not down, but inward, into the memory the city has been hoarding like a secret. You stand in the same room. You're younger. Not by much, but enough that your features are softer, less hollow. Your child is beside you. Their hand grips yours so tightly your fingers ache. The bird sits on one of the pillars, feathers bright, head tilted as if understanding more than it should. A dog lies at your child's feet, lean, sandy-colored, ears twitching, eyes alert. Desert dog. Stray-turned shadow, the animal that followed you here the first time. The circle glows brighter. The woman with ancient eyes stands across from you. The storms will bury us, she says. We can't survive them all, but the rememberers can carry us forward. Your younger self shakes your head. I won't let my child. They chose already, the woman interrupts, looking down at the small fingers laced with yours. They remembered before you. Your child looks up at you. There's no fear in their gaze. Only a fierce, impossible calm. It's okay, they whisper. The bird will find you again. Your throat closes. Come with me, you say. We leave together. We go back up. We can't, your child says. One of us has to stay, or there's nothing to come back to next time. The dog whines, sensing tension. It presses closer to your child's leg. Tears burn your younger self's eyes. I won't leave you, your child smiles. It's the same stubborn tilt they've had in every memory you still allow yourself to touch. You won't, they say. You'll find me again. That's what remembering means. The woman steps closer, holding the glowing symbol. Choose, she tells you gently, who carries the city's memory to the surface and who holds it safe until the next cycle. Your younger self breaks. I can't, you sob. Don't make me. Your child pulls their hand from yours and steps into the inner circle. I already did, they say. The circle flashes. The dog leaps after them. The bird shrieks overhead. You reach out. Too late. Light swallows them both. You fall to your knees. Take it, you croak to the woman. Take this from me. Take all of this. I can't live with it. The woman nods once, grief shadowing her eyes. You'll forget, she says. But you'll suffer anyway. Your heart will remember what your mind cannot. I don't care, you whisper. Just, please, take it. She presses the glowing symbol into your palm. Pain explodes behind your eyes. The circle spins. The city howls. Everything goes dark. The square slams back into place around you like a door swinging shut. You're on your knees again, but this time in the present. The glow from the inner circle flickers wildly. Tears hit the stone beneath you, hot, startling. The first you've truly felt in years. Your shoulders shake. You remember all of it. The choice, the cowardice, the love, the cruelty woven into both. You left your child and their dog here, inside the circle, to hold the city's memory safe. You took only your body back to the surface, and the city took everything else. The figure stands a few steps away, watching you. Their face has changed again. They are not quite your child anymore, not quite someone else. They are the sum of every cycle, every return, every broken promise. You came back, they say softly. Your voice scrapes its way out of your raw throat. I left you. The words feel like glass in your mouth. You did, they answer. No anger, just truth. But you also gave me time. The hum beneath you climbs, a pressure building to a breaking point. The pillars tremble. Dust rains down in a fine curtain. The city is listening. The storms are coming again, the figure says. The surface is changing. The dunes will move. If we don't choose now, this place will be lost for good. Your heart kicks against your ribs. What choice? You rasp. They nod toward the glowing circle. You asked the city to erase your part, they say. Now it wants to know. Do you finally stay to pay your debt? Their eyes glint with something bright and wet. Or do you take us all with you this time? The floor's glow surges under your palms, brighter, hotter, demanding an answer. The floor pulses beneath your hands. A heartbeat. Not yours, not the figures, the city's. The glow intensifies until the lines of the twin circles burn gold-white, casting long shadows up the carved pillars. The air hums with pressure, thick enough to swallow sound, thick enough to make every breath feel like it's pushing through water. The figure stands a few feet away, still, patient, unreadable. But their chest rises and falls with uneven breaths. They're afraid. You realize something else too. They're waiting for you to be afraid with them. The floor pulses again, harder this time. The stone heats under your palms, reminding you of the glowing symbol once pressed into your hand by the woman with ancient eyes. You curl your fingers, nails scraping the warm stone, trying to anchor yourself in the present even as memory claws at your ribs. You lift your head. Your voice emerges cracked. I left you here. The figure nods once, slow, not unkind. And now you remember why. You swallow, throat sandpaper dry. I abandoned my own child and their dog here in this room. You placed us in the circle, the figure corrects, to preserve the memory of a dying city. You believed someone had to. That someone should have been me. The figure's voice softens to a whisper. It was you, but you asked the city to take that memory away, and it did. You push yourself upright, breath ragged, legs trembling beneath you. The glowing lines in the stone ripple, responding to your movement like water disturbed by a hand. Why did I come back? Your voice trembles. Why now? The figure tilts their head, those two old eyes studying you from a too young face. Because the storm is returning, they say. The surface will be swallowed again. But that's just weather. No, their voice cuts through the chamber. This storm is the same one that buried us the first time, and the city remembers every cycle. The glow brightens, and the far wall cracks open. Stone splits with a sound like thunder held underwater. Dust pours down in a thick curtain. The rumbling intensifies until it vibrates through your teeth. You stagger back. You expect more rubble, more collapse, more danger. Instead, a figure steps through, small, low to the ground. Moving slowly, cautiously, head low, nose twitching through dust, a dog. Its fur is pale, sand-colored, streaked with darker patches. Its ribs show faintly through its coat, but its stance is steady. It's older than the dog in your recovered memory, but unmistakably the same. Your breath leaves you in a sound closer to a sob than a gasp. The dog sniffs once, twice, and then its head snaps toward you. Recognition flares in its eyes. It trots forward, then breaks into an unsteady run. You drop to your knees just in time. The dog collides with your chest, pressing its weight against you, head burrowing under your chin, tail trembling in erratic, frantic arcs. Your hands move on instinct, burying themselves in its warm, ruffled fur, feeling the coarse texture of desert dust clinging to its coat, pressing your face into the familiar scent of sand, musk, and the faint memory of sun-warmed warmth. Hot tears break at last. Your throat collapses around a sob you didn't realize you'd been holding for years. "Oh God," your voice shatters. "Oh God, I left you too!" The dog whines, a soft, aching sound, as if forgiving you before you forgive yourself. The figure steps closer. "They stayed in the circle with me," they say, "but they knew you would come back." You pull back enough to look into the dog's eyes, brown, clear, alive. Somewhere beneath all the years you lost, you remember their puppy weight on your lap, their paws tapping the tile floor, their nose nudging your child awake every morning. "How did they survive?" you whisper. The figure crouches beside you. "The circle keeps memory alive," they say. "It preserves what it holds. It heals what it can." The dog presses closer to you. Their heartbeat thuds against your chest, heavy, real, grounding. You hold on to them like they're the only solid thing in the world. For a moment, everything else fades. But the city doesn't let the moment last. A jolt rips through the floor, low, deep, urgent. The dog stiffens, ears twitching. The figure rises slowly, expression tightening. "It's beginning," they say. "What is?" "The cycle." "The decision." Your stomach twists. "What decision?" The figure gestures to the glowing twin circles. "You chose to leave once. The city let you. But memory cannot be held and carried by the same person. That is the rule." A cold breeze sweeps through the chamber, carrying a strange scent, something metallic, sharp like heated stone and distant lightning. "The city is waking fully," they continue. "It needs a new choice." "No," your voice cracks. "I'm not losing you again." Their expression fractures, pain flickering through their too old eyes. "You won't," they say. "Not the same way." Another tremor tears through the chamber. Dust cascades. A pillar groans. The glow of the twin circles intensifies, gold turning to white hot. "Tell me what the city wants," you shout above the noise. The figure meets your gaze. It wants to know whether the guardians stay alone, their voice grows quiet, or whether someone else stays with them. The meaning hits you hard. "Me?" Your voice barely forms the word. "You're asking if I stay here forever?" The dog whines softly, leaning into you. "You can't carry the city's memories," the figure says. "You're not a child anymore, not truly." "But the city will accept your presence, your life, your time, your choice. And if I don't," the figure's jaw tightens, "then the city will collapse." The ground bucks sharply under you. Too sharp, too final. One of the pillars cracks clean down the middle. The dog whimpers. Dust fills the air like smoke. The hum becomes a roar. The figure steps closer, raising their voice. "If the city dies, everything in it dies with it. The guardians, the memories, the truth, the cycles." Your breath stutters violently. "And you?" The figure looks away. "I dissolve with the city," they whisper. "I was shaped from its memory. I only live while it lives." Pain knifes through you. "No." You stand too fast. Your knees wobble beneath you, but you find balance, hand braced against the dog's back. "No, I can't. I won't lose you again." The figure looks at you with something like gratitude. "I know." The floor pulses again. A crack races straight across the inner circle, splitting the glowing symbol you once held in your hand. The city doesn't have much time. You pull the dog closer against your leg. The figure steps back into the center of the twin circles. The glow brightens around them, a halo of white gold light. "You have to choose," they call over the roar. "Stay," and the city resets. The guardians continue. The memory lives. I live. Or leave, and the city dies. The guardians dissolve. The memories vanish. I disappear. Tears burn your eyes. The room vibrates with a low, mournful sound, like 1,000 voices humming in sorrow. Your hand clenches in the dog's fur. Your child's face that isn't exactly your child, waits in the circle. The dog presses closer. Your heart breaks cleanly in half. No right choice exists, no kind choice, only the truth you finally remember. You came back for them. And now the city wants to know how far you're willing to go to keep that promise. The figure extends a hand toward you, open, steady, waiting. "Choose," they whisper. The light climbs higher, consuming the walls, the pillars, their silhouette, everything, until all that's left is their outstretched hand. The chamber is collapsing. Not suddenly. not in a single catastrophic fall, but in a slow, groaning, inevitable surrender, like the city has held itself together for centuries and is finally too tired to keep pretending. The pillars shake, stone dust fills the air, cracks glow with pulsing white fire beneath the surface. And in the middle of the chaos stands the figure, your child's face, someone else's voice, a memory shaped into flesh, their hand outstretched toward you, waiting. The dog presses against your leg, trembling, a warm, steady weight, alive, real, a reminder of everything you lost, and everything you failed, and everything you still have a chance to save. The city rumbles again, a deep sound that vibrates in your ribs. You take a single step toward the circle. The glow intensifies, pulling at you. Not physically, but with memory, with recognition, with the echo of the moment you once stood here and chose wrong. This time, you know what leaving means, what forgetting means, what staying means. What? The figure's voice is soft, but it reaches through the trembling noise. Mom, your time is almost gone. The word hits you like a blow. Mom, you swallow hard, throat burning. Don't call me that, you manage. You're not. But the rest can't leave your mouth. Because some part of you, the part that watched a child draw maps they shouldn't have remembered and wake from dreams of birds and whisper riddles at breakfast, knows that pieces of your child did live here. And pieces of this figure remember you. You steady yourself, hand gripping the dog's fur. What happens, you say slowly, carefully, if I step into the circle? The figure's eyes soften. You stay. You join the memory. The city heals. I remain. The next cycle begins. And the surface? The world moves on without you. The words fall heavy. And if I leave? The figure looks down. For the first time, they seem small. Not ancient, not ageless, but small. Then the city falls apart. I disappear. The cycles end, and the memories go dark forever. The shaking intensifies, as if the city wants to punctuate that point. A sharp crack splits across the ceiling. A chunk of stone crashes down behind you. The dog jumps, then presses even closer. You kneel beside them, stroking their head, feeling their warm breath against your palm. I left you once, you whisper. The dog leans into your hand, forgiving without hesitation. A forgiveness you don't deserve. You stand again. Your knees tremble. Your chest is tight enough to split. The figure is still waiting, hand extended, patience infinite, eyes full of centuries. Why me? Your voice breaks. Why does this city want me? Because you came back, they whisper. Most don't. A tear finally breaks free. It runs hot down your cheek. The dog nudges your thigh gently as if urging you to move. You take one step toward the circle, then another. The glow burns brighter, swirling around your ankles like golden wind. The figure's gaze trembles with hope. You don't have to be afraid, they say. You won't be alone. Your breath catches at the word alone. You've been alone for so long, too long. And yet, your child lived a life cut short. This figure born from memory has lived in suspended cycles. The dog waited for you in buried dark. Maybe staying is the end you deserve. Maybe staying is the one way to be with them again. Even if this isn't exactly them, you take another step, then stop. Tell me the truth, you whisper. If I stay, what happens to the dog? The figure blinks, startled. They look at the dog, then back at you. The circle preserves what enters it. The dog would stay with you. Neither of you would age. Your knees almost buckle with relief. And if I leave? A long silence. The dog will die with the city. Your vision blurs. You bend down and hold the dog tightly, arms wrapped around their warm body, face pressed into their neck. Their fur smells of dust and old stone. But beneath that, something stubbornly familiar. Not again, you whisper into their fur. I won't lose you again. When you stand, your decision is clear. The figure doesn't move. They don't smile. They don't cry. They only watch you with the full weight of memory behind their eyes. You step toward the circle, fully this time. Dog at your side. The glow surges up around you, rushing like a warm tide. The floor vibrates with recognition. The figure's relief trembles through the air. You chose us, they whisper. You reach for their outstretched hand. But at the last second, the dog pulls back. Not violently, not afraid, just refusing. They look up at you, head tilted, eyes clear. A quiet whine rumbles in their chest. It isn't fear. It's guidance, a warning, a reminder. This dog has stood inside this circle before. They know what it does, what it takes, what it changes. You freeze. Your hand hovers inches from the figures, but the dog presses a paw onto your foot and steps backward, out of the glowing circle. Your heart stops. No, you whisper, please don't leave me, not again. But the dog takes another step back, then another. They look at you with something unmistakable in their eyes. Not this way. Your breath shreds in your chest. The figure watches the dog, confusion flashing across their face. They don't understand, they say. The circle will hold all of us. But the dog growls softly, low, under their breath. A warning. You look down. The glow against your skin has changed. It is no longer warm. It burns. You jerk your hand back. The figure's expression cracks. Don't, they whisper. Don't walk away again, please. The dog's growl deepens. You've only heard that sound once before, the night of the accident, when sirens wailed and your child didn't wake up. The dog was warning you then, too. You step backward. The figure's eyes widen. No, your voice trembles. I won't leave you, you gesture at the dog, but I won't lose them. The chamber shakes violently. Stone splits open. A pillar collapses. The glow becomes a frantic, pulsing storm. The city is impatient, angry, desperate. The figure reaches toward you. Don't do this. Tears blur your vision. I'm not abandoning you. I'm saving all of us. You scoop the dog into your arms and turn away from the circle. The figure screams, No! The city screams with them. The floor convulses. The air implodes. A shockwave tears through the chamber, and everything goes white. White, not light. White. A complete, devouring blankness that swallows walls, floor, heat, sound, everything but the feeling of the dog pressed against your chest, their trembling heartbeats sinking desperately with yours. For a moment, there is no city, no figure, no sandstorm, no choice, only the blinding white and the echo of the scream that tore itself out of the figure's throat as you stepped away. You try to breathe. The white feels thick, like inhaling fog, dense and warm and threaded with a hum you feel rather than hear. The dog whines in your arms. You hold them closer. Easy, you whisper, though your own voice shakes. I've got you. I've got you. You don't know if it's true. The white pulses once like the last beat of a heart that has finally given up holding itself together. Then, the hum stops. Silence hits you like pressure releasing. The white thins. Color leaks back in. Grains of brown, flecks of gold, streaks of shadow, as if the world is repainting itself from nothing. And suddenly, you're kneeling on sand. Open desert stretches out in every direction. Dunes rolling under dawn's pale light, the horizon edged in pink and blue. A long shadow behind you where the dunes slope sharply down. The city is gone. Not collapsed, not buried. Gone. Erased like chalk from a board. The dog shifts in your arms, then squirms until you let them down. They shake sand from their fur, then press their head into your palm, seeking comfort. You bury your face in their neck and breathe deeply. Dust, warmth, life. Alive. You whisper it aloud, voice breaking. You're alive. You're here. When you lift your head, your throat closes. Because you are not alone. Someone stands at the edge of the dune a few paces away, arms wrapped around themselves, hair ruffled by the breeze, back turned to you, a familiar silhouette, small, still, facing east as the sun rises, the exact way your child used to stand at morning windows, waiting for light to reach them. Your chest caves. Hey, you whisper. The figure turns, and for an instant, your heart stops. It's them. But not as before. Not the half-ancient, half-child hybrid wearing centuries in their eyes. This face is younger, gentler, clearer. A child's face with no shadows behind it, no cycles, no weight, not a memory wearing a mask. A child. And yet, something in their eyes tells you this is not the one you lost, not the one preserved by the circle, not the guardian shaped by the city. This child is new, if you have, reborn from the city's last breath, because you refuse to abandon them again. You realize it as you stare at them. They are memory made free, not bound, not trapped, not cursed to cycle, saved. You rise slowly to your feet, legs trembling as if they've forgotten how to belong to the world. The dog trots beside you, tail low, cautious, sensing the shift. You take a step toward the child, then another. They watch you approach. They don't speak. Their breath catches in the way a child's breath does when a question is too big for their chest. You kneel in front of them. Your voice cracks. Are you okay? They blink, then glance around. At the desert, at the rising sun, at the dog nudging their hand, and something softens in their expression. I'm not what I was, they say quietly. But I'm not gone. You bite your lip hard enough to taste salt. But you're not my child, you whisper. It feels like betrayal to say it. But they nod. No, I'm who they became while waiting for you. The words land gently, like a hand on your shoulder. Not cruel, not a wound, a truth that hurts without harming. You swallow, tears spill despite your efforts. The child lifts a hand, hesitates, then places it against your cheek. Warm, Real, alive. I remember you, they whisper, enough to know you didn't leave this time. You pull them into your arms, not because they are your child, but because they are what your child protected, what the city preserved, what the circle blessed you with when you refused to abandon love again. They hold you back, small arms around your shoulders, breath shaky, not ancient, not echoed, but new. And the dog presses its body against both of you, tail brushing your leg, soft whines vibrating your ribs. The desert wind moves over you, no longer harsh, no longer scorching, gentle, like a sigh of release. When you finally let go, the child steps back. What now? You ask, wiping your face. The desert bird circles above you, silent, gliding, wings catching the dawn light. It dips once, then turns toward the horizon. The child watches it, thoughtful. We go with the wind, they say, no fear in their voice, no weight, no burden. Just a beginning. The city below is gone. Your grief is not. Your past is not. Your guilt is not. But something new stands in front of you, born from memory, freed by choice, untethered from cycles. A second chance, not at the life you lost, but at one you can build. You stand. The child takes your hand. The dog bumps your knee and falls in at your side. The sun crests the horizon, and for the first time in years, you let yourself feel its warmth. You begin walking, not toward anywhere. Just forward, with both hands full again. A parent after all. The desert bird calls once, a sound like blessing, then disappears into the rising light. And behind you, the last traces of the buried city are carried off on the wind. Not as loss, not as punishment, but as memory finally released.